The War Within beta has been live for a while now, and I have spent some time there to take a look at all the different new hunter pets. I will show you all the pets and the locations where you can find them. However, I may have missed some weremobs or secret pets, and in that case I want to apologize, and I will make an update video later on. Also, some of the zones don't have real maps yet, which I wanted to mention just so you aren't confused. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the first zone, the Isle of Dorn, you will find a couple of new beasts to tame. First of all, we have the Wammeliths, worm-like creatures made of stone. These appear in 5 different colors: blue, brown, grey, red and tan. The Wammeliths can be found with 2 different horns or no horn at all, and they can either have a mossy mane or not. You can find these very early on the Isle of Dorn at roughly these areas. Then we have the Shalehounds. They kinda look like a mix of a unicorn and a moose. A bit like a unicorn on steroids. They also have different color schemes, and you can find the grey one with a white mane, the white one with a grey mane, as well as the brown versions with either a brown or a white mane in these areas, while at this spot, as well as places in the zone Hallowfall, you can find a complete dark version. Next we have one of my favorites, the Mudskippers. These cute little fellas can be found in multiple zones, but especially on this island down here you can find all 5 color variations. We have a blue one, a green one, yellow, purple and red. Also, some time ago, Blizzard leaked that these little guys are actually the choir who sings the music in Stormwind. The more you know. Then further in the north you can find the Cinder Bees. There are a couple of different color variations which all look really amazing, especially this brighter version and this red one really stand out in my opinion. But this bright version is only found on a weremob, so you might not find it that easily. A bit further in the north you can find the first Swarmites. These belong to the Bloodbeast family and first have to be unlocked. They resemble the Swarmers we had in Nazmir, but look a bit different and more detailed. Swarmites can be found in 4 different colors, and they can also come with big stingers, but more on that later. And the last pets in the Isle of Dorn are the moles. They really resemble the Niffen we have first met in the Zarelak Caverns, and this is kinda weird. I really hope we will learn more on the backstory, how they evolved into a humanoid species. On the Isle of Dorn you can find the blue version of them, and you can find it at this location, but there are more color variants in the Ringing Deeps. But before we check out the Ringing Deeps, do me a favor and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I have many other videos about rare, hidden and unique hunter pets, as well as other cosmetic items in the game you might be interested in. The Ringing Deeps are the second zone of the War Within, the first underground zone of the expansion, and here we'll find many interesting beasts to tame. First, we have more moles down here. They are brown, pale, a bit of purple on top, yellowish, and they can also have a different nose. There's also one mole with a saddle, which you can find at this spot right here. Then we have the Candleflies, which are a new type of firefly. They look pretty cute and come in orange, blue and green. The blue and green version are more often found in the southern areas, and they also appear a lot in the zone of Azj-Kahet. Also, these fireflies come with different antennas, which is just a very small detail, but I wanted to mention it nonetheless. Next we have the Undercrawlers, spider-like creatures with claws. They are kind of a hybrid of spiders and crabs, I guess, and they can be found in multiple areas around the zone and come in 4 different colors. Green with a yellow glow, black with a red glow, and orange or yellow with a blue glow. Then we have the Jawcrawlers, which are these really weird looking worms. They are exotic beasts and only tameable by beastmasters, and in the Ringing Deeps you can find the blue or white color variation. They can be found in the center of the zone. There's also a green and a dark version of these, and the green one can be found in a blocked off cave in the east, and I assume you get there for a quest, but you can also find them in Azj-Kahet. More on that later. But first, we go to Hallowfall. And Hallowfall is probably the most gorgeous zone, maybe ever? But regarding the new hunter pets, it falls a bit flat, but the ones we are getting here are amazing. First we have the lynxes, and I think they look incredible, especially compared with the lynxes from Burning Crusade. However, they sadly only appear in one color so far. But then again, this is still the beta, and according to some data mining, there are 5 different colors in total, so it might still change. But there's also a weremob called Litfang the Lost, which is an armored grey lynx. All of these lynxes can be found in the very western area of the zone. And then there's also a new Salamander, but once again, this is still the beta, and I am like 99% sure that this one is not intended, because it's one of the baby salamanders. And they become giant. As much as I want this to be real, I really don't see it happening. In case it is intended, they can be found around here. And finally, we have a zone of Azj-Kahet. Here we can find the last jaw crawlers, the green and dark versions. They can be found in the southeast as well as the northwest. And we also have the stinked swarmites, which can be mostly found in the southwest but also in small camps in the northern parts of the zone. And finally we have the stag shells, a new kind of beetle which comes in 4 different colors: green, pale, white and purple-ish. They can be found all around the zone and come with different grass bars, shells and horns. These are all the new models, but I also wanted to talk about 2 beasts in the Zawala caverns that have become tameable. We have 2 weremobs from the zone that previously could not be tamed and have a unique color scheme compared to the other beasts with the same design. First we have the Underlight Queen, which is a sparkly blue dust moth with a purple body which looks really unique and much more vibrant than all the other color variants of the dust moth. And also we have Character, a bluish, purplish shale wing. However, Character can also drop itself as a mount, so it's really up to you if you want to tame it or kill it. But now my question to you: what is your favorite new hunter pet and why is it a mud skipper? And another question: have you watched this video right here? Because if not, you should definitely do that. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you next time. Until then, see ya!